Appreciate the group that we have assembled today. This is always of keen interest, the duplication report. Government is so big, so wide, so expansive. We're talking about trillions of dollars in expenditures, and we're always seeking ways to make the government's dollars more effective, more efficient. And this morning, the Government Accountability Office has released its 6th annual report on opportunities to reduce fragmentation, overlap, and duplication in the Federal Government to achieve financial and other benefits. And over the course of the 6 years, the GAO has highlighted 250 areas of the Federal Government and recommended more than 600 corrective actions. We cannot thank enough the men and women who serve in the GAO, the good work that they do, doing hard work, looking under the hood, and really coming up with important recommendations that we as members of Congress desperately need in order to do our jobs properly. 41% of the recommended corrective actions have been fully addressed and closed, which GAO reports will save about $125 billion by the year 2025. This report reveals that persistent efforts to address inefficiencies and resolve wasteful spending can provide significant benefits to the public. Yet with only 41% of actions addressed, more obviously needs to be done. In taking action at just 3 agencies, the Department of Defense, the Department of Health and Human Services, and the Internal Revenue Service, if we did just those 3, we would save literally billions upon billions of dollars. Combined, these agencies account for more than half of all Federal spending in fiscal year 2015. More than half of all corrective actions in GAO's annual reports are directed at these 3 agencies. Yet all 3 agencies have more than 60% of the recommended actions still open. For example, the GAO estimates the IRS could save hundreds of millions of dollars and increase revenue by enhancing its online services. In 2013, GAO recommended the IRS develop a methodology for its allocation of enforcement resources. The IRS developed a methodology, but to date has chosen not to implement it. Such inaction costs taxpayers time and money. The IRS needs to explain their refusal to take this corrective action. In a new area highlighted in this year's report, the IRS is using a paper-based system to receive and track tips on tax noncompliance through public referral programs in 9 different offices. GAO estimates the coordination and information sharing could help the IRS identify and collect billions of dollars in tax revenue. It shouldn't take a GAO report to point out that coordinating investigations prevent duplicative work and ensures taxpayer resources are used efficiently and effectively. In 2015, GAO recommended the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services should ensure states report accurate and complete data on state sources of funds. Seems fairly reasonable. GAO estimates that CMS could save the taxpayers hundreds of millions of dollars, but CMS has not taken this action. And in 2013, the GAO recommended the Department of Defense implement a plan to guide joint basing, meaning multiple military services using a single base to achieve efficiencies. The DoD has yet to complete this action, even though it could save as much as $2.3 billion over a 20-year period. Why do we need to come back year after year to discuss the same actions? That's in part what we're going to be discussing today. Obviously, the Federal Government has an obligation not to waste taxpayer dollars. We're pulling money out of somebody's pocket, and then we're trying to give it to somebody else and use that. And we've got to be very, very cognizant of this wasteful taxpayer spending. All Federal workers should consider it part of their job description to prevent waste and should embrace their role as fiduciaries for the American public. Disagreements over policy can lead to disagreements over appropriate spending, but the imperative to prevent waste is something we can all agree on both sides of the aisle. When we know it's about waste and inefficiency, we have to act. This GAO annual report provides a roadmap to tackling the known waste and inefficiency is out there. So, we have a lot of questions, a host of questions here, but we do look forward to it and want to maximize the time for member input. So with that, I'd like to recognize the ranking member, Mr. Cummings of Maryland, for his opening statement.
Thank you.